very macroscopic question that you're interested in. We'll pull on the religion thread You have been giving talks recently about the concept of the Antichrist.
First and foremost, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor that's due to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem. Rachaha, Kodash, double honor to the elders and the apostles of great millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings to the 144,000 and the hopeful elect. Shalom Barakathum. And the title of this is going to be Peter Thiel Speaks on the Antichrist. And whenever these devils get up there and start speaking about religion and one world religions and governments, us as watchmen, we have to be all ears. As a matter of fact, before I let some of this play, okay, I'll get that. What our job is to be as a watchman. Okay. Ezekiel 3:17. Okay. It says, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me. And this is what we're here to do, is to break down the things that are happening in the world and the news, and to translate them into the scriptures as it's relevant today as prophecy unfolds. So the sheep is warned and they are able to be gathered into the barn into safety. Okay. As the scriptures say, make it plain upon tables so that he may run that readeth it. Okay. And I'll finish a little bit more in the Ezekiel, if time permits. But this is an interview. I haven't watched the full thing, but I got to the point where they're speaking about the main topic. So this is Peter Thiel here on the left. He's a tech billionaire. Okay, he's a protege. Mark Zuckerberg is his protege who made Facebook. J.D. Vance is another protege. He's homeboys with Elon Musk. They go way back. There's a TV show on him on HBO called Silicon Valley. And that show is I watched every episode. I love that show actually because I was into a little bit of tech. It's 5 seasons. I've seen the whole thing, and that show is about Peter Thiel. Well, the character in there that plays Peter Thiel, the Peter Thiel character, he's not in the show very much, but he is his money. Okay, he's like a funder of these Silicon Valley. They call them incubators, where these guys get into a garage and they start coding. Okay, he just basically funds a bunch of little smart nerd guys and see which one comes up with the best, program or app, and that's who that guy is. And now he's gone viral a lot more recently, more so with Trump and his newer company Palantir, which is a CIA front. Okay, let's listen to what he has to say on the Antichrist. Okay,
which is
very
a Christian concept, an apocalyptic concept. What does that mean to you? What does that mean to you?
How much time do we have?
Antichrist?
How much time do we have?
As much time as you have to talk about the Antichrist.
I could talk about it a long time. I could talk about it a long time. I think there's always a question. How do we articulate? How do we articulate? Some of these existential, some of the challenges we have. They're all framed as sort of dystopian science text. There's a risk of nuclear war. There's a risk of environmental disaster, climate change, something specific like climate change. There's lots of other ones we could come up with. There's a risk of bioweapons. All the different sci-fi scenarios. Obviously, there are certain types of risks with AI. But I always think that if we're going to have this frame of talking about existential risks, perhaps we should also talk about the risk. Another type of a bad singularity, which I would describe as the one-world totalitarian state.
You see these devils, and that nigga look like a damn Bond villain, man. Now he's trying to tell you that he's the one warning you about an overwhelming totalitarian state. But when we go to the scriptures, it tells you exactly how the serpent speaks. Okay, I'm going to go to Psalms 10. All right, because they always have this excuse about how they're doing something moral or just. But what's really underpinning all of this is they have an agenda at play, and it has nothing to do with life. Okay, it's the opposite. Okay, and this guy's gonna get caught up in this interview. You'll see in a second. But it says Psalms 10:2. It says, "The wicked in his pride doeth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined." See, they've imagined a one world global governance, okay? But they want to convince you that they're doing the right thing because it's easier to convince somebody with candy to get into the van as opposed to having to pick them up, tie them up, and drag them into the van. And see, it takes a lot more energy and effort, okay? It's better to lure your victim, okay, into the van than to force them. And this is what you have now. This is why they use soft words, okay? It says, for the wicked boasteth of his heart's desires, and blessed the covetous, whom the Lord Yahweh abhorreth. Okay? It says, the wicked through the pride of his countenance will not seek after the Most High. The Most High is not in all his thoughts. His ways are grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them, all right? So this is why he went around the world setting up coups. Okay, Trump just came out and said, and announced that the Congo is having they're ending a war that kills 6 million people, over there in the Congo, and that situation with Rwanda. Okay, that war went on for over and over and over. But what he doesn't tell you is he started that war. Okay, he got those tribes over there, them Hamites and them Jakes over there fighting one another over those minerals, okay? Because he shows up with a briefcase of monopoly money, IOUs, and puts that witchcraft on you, and all of a sudden you're fighting each other to the death over some money that ain't even real. And if you don't get with it, he'll set up a dictator, okay, to sell out and overthrow you. See, this is what he's been doing when it says is he puffeth at his enemies. All right, but see that model is retired now. Okay, he's retiring the model of going around showing up with ships and guns and Bibles in one hand and enslaving you that way. Okay, he's done with overthrowing coups now. Okay, now the new thing is to get everybody digitally integrated. He sells you on getting your whole society is now electronic and integrated. And then he's gonna control it now. You see, that's how he's gonna colonize the whole world and get full control now. This is a new model. What Klaus called the Fourth Industrial Revolution. All right. It says, verse 6, he hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. This is why he has enough gumption and proud and audacity to get up there talking about we got to stop the bad guys. Meanwhile, look at him.
Perhaps we should also talk about the risk. Another type of a bad singularity, which I would describe as the one world totalitarian state. Because I would say the political solution, the default political solution people have for all these existential risks is one world governance. What do you do about nuclear weapons? A United Nations with real teeth that controls them. They're controlled by an international political order.
But it's not international, okay? No matter what country they come from, Africa, China, South America, they all wear what? They all wear suits, okay? They all have to have English translators because Esau really runs the UN. That's just the front, okay? It's just the first iteration of diversity, equity, and inclusion, okay? That was the real first diversity, equity, because those other nations don't really have a say-so, okay? Nigeria has representation in the UN, but they don't have any say-so on what goes on. Okay, that's just a guise to get you to believe that everyone has a say, just like they got the red and blue team here in America. You don't really have a vote, but they have that set up to make you think you have a vote. Okay, We got to get the Latino vote. We got to get the black vote. Those votes don't matter, man. Those are stumbling blocks, a means to convince you that you have control over a situation you really don't have control over. Okay, it's to pacify you. Okay, so when this guy starts speaking, you have to be able to cut through that, man. These people are the devil.
Something like this. Is also AI.
What do we do about AI?
Global compute
and we
governance.
need global compute governance.
We need
a one world government
to
control all the computers,
log every single keystroke
to make sure people don't
program
AI.
And I've
a dangerous AI, and I've been wondering whether that's sort of
going from the frying pan into the fire.
The frying pan into the fire. And so the atheist,
they already have a dangerous AI. You think they released AI out into the public and they ain't have something already 30 years in advance of it? Okay. They basically tell you they've mastered it when they release these movies. Okay, they won't tell you that, but they program you to let you know it's coming. When they made Blade Runner, okay, that's way back in 2016 or something like that, the new one that came out. When they made that movie, they showed you they had an AGI, which is an artificial general intelligence, which means it can do more than text. It can do more than visual images. It can do more than sound. It's all 5 senses into one super intelligence. Okay, they already mastered that a while ago. You see, they're showing it to you now because they're getting ready to sell you on something, okay, that's going to take away your freedom. You know? Let me go back. Psalms 10:7. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Okay, under his tongue is mischief and vanity. Okay, that's what you got under this guy's tongue, man. All right, and eventually they're gonna have to demonize the ones that be of upright conversation, which I'll get that. Oh, salachya. Let me get to it 1 second. Psalms 37:14. I'm going to start at verse 12. It says, the wicked plotteth against the just and gnasheth upon him with his teeth. It says, the Lord shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his day is coming. See, the Lord is laughing. This nigga think he got the biggest plan. I'm going to do this, the one word I'm going to get on. I'm going to do an interview and convince people to do this. The Lord is laughing at you because this thing is already written. Okay? It says, verse 14, the wicked have drawn out the sword. They thought they thought they had us, man. Okay, this is that moment where Cain raised up that rock to smite his brother Abel. Okay. And in that moment, see, this time, his hand, that rock gonna get slapped out of his hand. Okay. Spiritually speaking. Okay. That's where he's at, where he think he's gonna be able to slay his brother again. Okay. And like the Lord is just going to overlook that and he going to still get the birthright. No. What did the Lord do in the ancient world? He raised up Abel. Okay. He cursed Cain and he raised up Abel. He raised up another seed to inherit it. Okay. But this time you're not going to be able to put your hands on the righteous, man. You know, verse 14, the wicked have drawn out the sword and have bent their bow to cast down the poor and needy and to slay such as be of upright conversation. Okay, and that's ultimately what they're doing. So when you go back to Psalm 10, okay, this is what this is going into. It says, under his tongue is mischief and vanity. He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages. All right, they're setting up surveillance cameras. Okay, they're in the situation room. Okay, they're having these councils, in the dark about what they're going to do with you. All right. It says, in the secret places doeth he murder the innocent. His eyes are privily set against the poor. And there's all kind of innocent being murdered, man. All these kids going missing. The elder Malcolm out of Chicago, he did the lesson about how they got these cargo plane, these immigrant death flights, okay, where they just drop your ass off the back of the plane. They tell you they shipping you back to Guatemala or Venezuela, and they just dropping your ass off in the ocean, man. You see, he's scared. It says he lieth in wait. Secretly as a lion in his den, he lieth in wait to catch the poor. He doeth catch the poor when he draweth him into his net. Okay. And that's what he's doing right now. He's drawing you in. Okay. He's not coming out as a roaring lion yet, but his plans are going to be upset. Okay. I'll get that in Revelation 12, to the point where he's going to have to just come down and bring out show you the real him. But right now he's still drawing.
Philosophical framing is one world or none. That was a short film that was put out by the Federation of American Scientists in the late 40s. Starts with a nuclear bomb blowing up the world, and obviously you need a one-world government to stop it, one world or none. And the Christian framing, which in some ways is the same question, is Antichrist or Armageddon. You have the one-world state of the Antichrist, or we're sleepwalking towards Armageddon. One world or none, Antichrist or Armageddon, on one level are the same question. Now, I have a lot of thoughts on this topic, but sort of one question is, and this was a plot hole in all these Antichrist books people wrote. How does the Antichrist take over the world? He gives these demonic, hypnotic speeches, and people just fall for it. And so it's this plot hole. It's this daemonium.
Right. It's implausible.
It's a very implausible plot hole.
Right.
But I think we have an answer to this plot hole. The way the Antichrist would take over the world is you talk about Armageddon nonstop. You talk about existential.
And that's him. Okay. But let's break down a little bit what he's talking about the Antichrist, because there is no the Antichrist. Okay. It's a very simple word to break down. It just means you're against the Messiah. Okay, and who represents the Messiah on the earth? Huh? The Israelites, the ones that are of his brethren, of his kinsmen according to the flesh, when you read Romans the 9th chapter. Okay. Okay, but at 1 John 2:18, it says, little children, it is the last time, and as ye have heard that Antichrist shall come, even now there are many Antichrists. Okay, so back then there were many Antichrists. So that is not a doctrine that has any truth to it, that there's going to be this one guy that's going to rise up and we got to watch out for him, or he's going to take over the world. No, it says whereby we, salachya, it says whereby we know that it is the last time. It says they went out from us, but were not of us. For if they had been of us, they would no have doubt continue with us. That goes for those guys that are that left the truth. Okay, and those guys are going to become agents if they not already. All those guys that left, that got bitter. Okay, they got mad, they got upset, they got emotional about something. Those emotional men, they're right for being turned into a weapon against you, man. Okay, remember that movie 300? I forget the little nigga's name. But the short guy, he was a dwarf. They wouldn't let him fight in the army. He got bitter, okay? Because he didn't have the physical attributes to be able to fight in the army. He got bitter, and what did he do? He sold them out to the Persians, man. He told them about the alternate what do you call it? The entrance, the gate, because they fight in the Battle of Thermopylae. It's a very narrow valley where you have to go through this one funnel, and they were able to hold back those Persians because they knew how to fight better than them, and they couldn't get through. But he told them about the back door, okay? Because he got bitter. And so when these guys that left from us, they're gonna be on the side of a Peter Thiel, man. Believe it or not, Okay? Satan is at work on these people, man. You can't look at somebody because they look like you, that they're with you. No. The Lord told us to separate even from our families. All right? It says they would no doubt have continued with us, but they went out that they might be made manifest that they were not all of us. All right? And this is really the precept that when it says that they are not of Israel, that not all are called Israel or of Israel. Salachya. I believe that's in I have to look it up. Memory's bad. Is it Galatians? Hold on. I'll find it later. But you get the point. Let me go back to this real quick. Okay, so this whole AntiChrist doctrine, is BS. And this is the definition of it here. 1 John 2:22. It says, who is a liar but he that denieth Yahushua Mashiach? He is Antichrist. He that denieth the Father and the Son. Okay? So that's these atheists. You had that guy on TikTok talking about there ain't no Yahushua, there ain't no Yahweh, and he's making mockery of the name. Yahweh washing machine or something like that he was saying. And it's not even funny. You can at least be funny, you know. 1 John 4:3, it says, and every spirit that confesseth not that Yahushua Mashiach is come in the flesh is not of the Most High. Who is that? Those are the small hats, man. They said the Lord never came. So what does that make them? Okay, and who is running everything? Who's in charge right now? Who can you not speak out against? All right, it says, and this is that spirit of Antichrist, whereby we have heard that it should come, and even now already is it in the world. Okay, so this is not a guy that's just going to come up out of nowhere. It's already in the earth. It's a spirit. Okay. 2 John 1:7. For many deceivers are entered into the world who confess not that Yahushua Mashiach is come in the flesh. This is a deceiver and an antichrist. Okay. So that's what it is. Okay. This is a new doctrine of these evangelicals. Okay. You watch the movies Left Behind when you was a kid. You know what I'm talking about.
Nonstop. And this is what you need to regulate. It's the opposite of the picture of Baconian science from the 17th, 18th century, where, you know, the Antichrist is like some evil tech genius, evil scientist who invents this machine to take over the world. People are way too scared for that.
He's describing him. So he's trying to convince you, look, it's not me. Look, you see how the devil talks, man? He's look, it's not me. He's not some evil tech giant scientist genius that's taking over. That's him. Okay? This nigga has funded every major tech startup. Okay? He's behind the original Facebook got shut down. People don't know that. Okay? Facebook was a CIA program originally funded by Peter Thiel. Okay? But it was illegal at the time. Okay? And that's part of the reason they made the Patriot Act. Okay? They basically got a workaround under the guise of this guy under the Patriot Act, under the Weviance, okay, the September 2001, okay. But they didn't want to scare everybody, so what did they do? They canceled it, and they didn't have the CIA directly over it. And what they did was they got Mark Zuckerberg, which is this guy's protege, okay, and they got him to make a public one called Facebook, okay. So this guy is behind all of this. You see?
The world, the thing that has political resonance is the opposite. It is It is the thing that has political resonance is we need to stop science. We need to just say stop to this. And this is where, I don't know, in the 17th century, I can imagine a Dr. Strangelove, Edward Teller type person taking over the world. In our world, it's far more likely to be Greta Thunberg.
Okay, I want to suggest a middle ground between those two options. It used to be that the reasonable fear of the Antichrist was a...
See, these devils, they don't like the word no. This nigga's a sport. You know, this is one of the niggas, the neighbor's dog went missing. You know, they don't know what happened to it. He can't be told no. He don't even like you disagreeing with him. Look at that demonic face he got on him, man. You see? See, he just wants you to listen and fall in line, okay? But he's soft. It's not in him to lead. Yet he's leading because the Lord set him up, because this is the stumbling block for the whole earth, man, okay? That this guy is somehow superior, okay? This is the setup for the world to come. I'm going to show you the lowest, softest, most effeminate leader and put them over you. All right, just to show you my power. Okay, and then I'm going to throw them down in one swipe.
Kind of wizard of technology.
Greta Thunberg.
Okay, I want to suggest a middle ground between those two options. It used to be that the reasonable fear of the Antichrist was a kind of wizard of technology. And now the reasonable fear is someone who promises to control technology, make it safe, and sort of usher in what, from your point of view, would be a kind of universal stagnation of, right?
Well, it's more, that's more my description of how it would happen.
Right.
So I think people still have a fear of a 17th century Antichrist.
Yes.
We're still scared of Dr. Strangelove.
Right, but you're saying the real Antichrist would play on that fear and say, you must come with me to avoid Skynet, to avoid the Terminator, to avoid nuclear Armageddon.
Yes.
And I guess my view would be, looking at the world right now, that you would need a certain kind of novel technological progress to make that fear concrete, right? So I can buy that the world could turn to someone who promised peace and regulation if the world became convinced that AI was about to destroy everybody, right? But I think to get to that point, you need one of the accelerationist apocalyptic scenarios to start to play out, right? To get your peace and safety Antichrist, you need more technological progress, like one of the key failures of totalitarianism.
Right, he's cutting them, boy. He made the big boogeyman threat. He made AI. He made the threat that he's going to use to scare you into following me. Okay? You see? You see how this guy, this is the failure of wisdom in teaming, man. You see? Look at him. Wow, bro. The Lord is cold, man. This guy is getting exposed. Jeremiah 49:7. It says, concerning Edom, thus saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, is wisdom no more in teeming? Is counsel perished from the prudent? Is their wisdom vanished? He got up in there in this interview and thought that he could just gaslight you that it's not me. But meanwhile, he's behind all of the technology used to scare you. He just contradicted
the 20th
himself.
Century was concrete, right? So I can buy that the world could turn to someone who promised peace and regulation if the world became convinced that AI was about to destroy everybody, right? But I think to get to that point, you need one of the accelerationist apocalyptic scenarios to start to play out, right? To get your peace and safety Antichrist, you need more technological progress. Like one of the key failures of totalitarianism in the 20th century was it had a problem of knowledge. It couldn't know what was going on all over in the world, right? So you need the AI or whatever else to be capable of helping the peace and safety totalitarian rule. So don't you think you need, essentially you need your worst case scenario to involve some burst of progress that is then tamed and used to impose stagnant totalitarianism? You can't just get there from where we are right now.
Well, it can
like Greta Thunberg's on a boat in the Mediterranean, like, like protesting Israel. Like I just don't see the promise of safety from AI, safety from tech.
Right. He demonized Greta Thunberg because she went against some small hats over there. Okay. Now, Peter Thiel on record is not listed as a small hat, but he's born in Germany. So you make of that what you will. Okay. You see, he's trying to do the whole misdirection, and he's losing, man. He's sloppy. Okay. And eventually this nigga right here and sitting in the chair, he's just going to say, fuck it. Okay. You know, he ate a couple kids.
Safety from climate change right now as a powerful, universal rallying cry, absent accelerating change and real fear of total catastrophe.
I mean, these things are so hard to score, but I think environmentalism's pretty powerful. I don't know if it's absolutely powerful enough to create a one world totalitarian state, but man, it is.
I think it is not.
It is
in its current form.
It is. I want to say it's the only thing people still believe in Europe. Like, they believe in the green thing more than Islamic Sharia law, or more than in, the Chinese communist totalitarian takeover. And the future is an idea of a future that looks different from the present. The only three on offer in Europe are green, Sharia, and, the totalitarian communist state. And the green one is by far the strongest.
In a declining, decaying Europe that is not a dominant player in the world.
It's always in a context.
Right.
And then I would, I don't know, we had this really complicated history with the way nuclear technology worked. And, we didn't really get to, a totalitarian one world state. But, by the 1970s, one account of the stagnation is that the runaway progress of technology had gotten very scary, and that, Baconian science, it ended at Los Alamos, and then it was, okay, it ended there, and we didn't want to have any more. And, when Charles Manson took LSD in, the late 60s and started murdering people, what he saw on LSD, what he learned was that you could be like Dostoevsky, an anti-hero in Dostoevsky, and everything was permitted. And of course, not everyone became Charles Manson, but in my telling of the history, everyone became as deranged as Charles Manson.
But Charles Manson did not become the Antichrist and take over the world, right? We're ending in the apocalyptic.
No, but my telling of the history of the 1970s is the hippies did win. And we landed on the moon in July of 1969. Woodstock started 3 weeks later, and with the benefit of hindsight, that's when progress stopped and the hippies won. And it was not literally Charles Manson.
Okay, but I want to stay with the Antichrist just to end, right? And you're retreating. You're saying, okay, environmentalism is already pro-stagnation and so on. Okay, let's agree with all that. But we're not living under the Antichrist right now. We're just stagnant, right? And you're positing that something worse could be on the horizon that would make stagnation permanent, that would be driven by fear. And I'm suggesting that for that to happen, there would have to be some burst of technological progress that was akin to Los Alamos that people are afraid of. And I guess this is my
and that's AI, okay? This guy doesn't get it. He thinks that all of that indoctrination in public school did way more damage than it really would have. And it done a lot of damage, don't get me wrong, but now the light is coming back into the earth. The truth is being exposed, okay? Going back, this is Jeremiah 49:8. It says, "Flee ye, turn back, dwell, O inhabitants of Dedan, for I will bring the calamity of Esau upon him, that the time that I will visit him," okay? See, he's going to get sloppy when the Lord gets ready to visit this place. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to leave evidence, trails, okay? He's going to misspeak. He's going to overplay his hand, expose himself, get too excited, get too hasty. You see? It says, "If grape gatherers come to thee, would they not leave some gleaning grapes? If thieves by night, They will destroy till they had enough. See, they got too greedy, man. Okay? They got to take over the whole world, and they got to do it on their timeline. They got to do it this quick. There's ways they could have done this with way more wisdom, but they didn't, because they're ravenous animals, man. They're beasts. Pursuing to Habakkuk 2 and 5. Start at verse 4. Okay? You'll see the nature of this demon, man, that's sitting in front of you, proposing to be a civilized human. Okay? But it says, verse 10, but I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. All right? That's what you have going on right here in this very interview. Okay? And it says his seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. Okay? So all that what you got going on, this whole list with Epstein, all of it's going to come out eventually. Okay?
My very specific question for you, right, is that you're an investor in AI. You're deeply invested in Palantir, in military technology, in technologies of surveillance, in technologies of warfare, and so on, right? And it just seems to me that when you tell me a story about the Antichrist coming to power and using the fear of technological change to sort of impose order on the world, I feel like that Antichrist would maybe be using the tools that you were building, right? Like, wouldn't the Antichrist be like, great, we're not going to have any more technological progress, but I really like what Palantir has done so far, right?
Yeah,
I mean, isn't that a concern? Wouldn't that be the irony of history would be that the man publicly worrying about the Antichrist accidentally hastens his or her arrival?
There are all these different
speechless
scenarios. I obviously don't think that that's what I'm doing.
I mean, to be clear, I don't think that's what you're doing either. I'm just interested in how you get to a world willing to submit.
Right. I don't think that's what I'm doing. Look, this nigga is exposed, man. Okay. And this is going to get violent when he knows that he ain't got no other choice. Once he realizes he can't convince you to get into the van, he's going to snatch your ass, man. Okay. He's going to try to lure you in there with some candy. And once he realizes, he's going to roll on you. Okay. Revelation 12 and 12. And I'll end it here. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. So that's where we are with this devil, man. You can watch the rest of this interview. This is on Interesting Times with Ross Do That.
To permanent authoritarian rule.
He's a small head
but again, there are these different gradations of this we can describe, but is this so preposterous, what I've just told you, as a broad account of the stagnation that the entire world has submitted for 50 years to peace and safetyism? This is 1 Thessalonians 5:3. The slogan of the Antichrist is peace and safety, and we've submitted to the FDA regulates not just drugs in the U.S., but de facto in the whole world, because the rest of the world defers to the FDA. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission effectively regulates nuclear power plants all over the world. People, you can't design.
He's urging you, look, we need this. Salachya, I was trying to end it, but he went to he went to 1 Thessalonians, peace and safety, you see? And this nigga do not believe in the scriptures at all. but he should believe when he's quoting it. Okay? It says 1 Thessalonians 5:1, but the times and the season, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord Yahweh shall cometh as a thief in the night. Okay, who is he talking to? It's a specific audience, meaning a lot of people are not going to get it, and they're not meant to get it. Okay, it says, for when they shall say peace and safety, sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. And that is talking about this time period where they make you believe that you're good. Okay, but he's trying to tell you that this green agenda is what that is. And we need his technology to usher us into it. See, he's trying to confound the scriptures, okay? But he can't do it. You see? Where is that? Psalms 84 or 83. I gotta remember these precepts, man. 64. Okay. This whole thing is good. I'm gonna start at verse 3. It says, Psalm 64 and 3. Verse 2, it says, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, for the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. Them niggas who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, because they've already built the technology. Now he's trying to convince you to use it. But why would he spend all of this time building it just to try to convince you? Because he has no intention of asking. Okay, you would get permission first, and then you would build it. But see, he's already built it, which means he's gonna use it no matter what. So this whole thing he's trying to convince you about why this is good is bullshit. Okay, it says that they may shoot in secret. Salachya, it says, verse 3 again, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. All right. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. All right. He said, didn't what I'm saying make sense to you? No, it don't make no goddamn sense. Okay. And once he realizes that his plan A is getting rejected, plan B is going to get bloody. Okay. Plan B for bloody. Okay. It says, they commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search. And that's what his whole technology is about, man. He knows everything about you, all your text messages, your phone calls, all your browser history. He got everything, man. All right. It says, both the inward thought of them at the heart is deep, and the Most High shall shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly shall they be wounded. All right. And then this is going to come out of nowhere, man. He's going to panic. Okay. It says, so they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. Just like you bust one guy, and it starts a domino effect, and they start snitching on each other. They start infighting. Okay. They start exposing one another. Okay. That's Isaiah the 19th chapter. You see? It says, and all men shall fear and shall declare the work of the Most High, for they shall wisely consider of his doing. See, they're now wisely considering of his doing, and the arrow ain't really even struck yet, man. All right. It says, the righteous shall be glad in the Lord Yahweh and shall trust in him, and the upright in heart shall glory. So with that, giving all praise, glory, and honor that's due to Yahweh, B'Hashem Yahweh Shai, B'Hashem Rachak Shalom, Kwam Yasharal.